Travis Wayne, good self. Right before I start this next video, YouTube again, as I had uploaded my previous video here, LDS Church frauds Mormons into the wrong Jesus Christ. They again presented me with another Mormon video, over 2 hours, of someone thinking they know the signs preceding the second coming. I'm not going to go over it, but I saw David Denlinger's comment, and he did edit it. He makes the comment saying, "Some prophecies that have not happened yet. The Antichrist revealing himself." No, the Antichrist has revealed himself. That's what this video that I'm about to do is about. The cleansing of Utah. No, the coronavirus is doing that. The date for this video was 29 March 2020. However, David's comment was 2 days ago. So yes, we're well into the cleansing of Utah. Not only are the white supremacist Utah police forces out busting heads of innocent citizens and Mormons, but the coronavirus is slaughtering people. And I'm going to talk about that because that has to do with the Antichrist and cleansing and white supremacy. Than the rest of the world. It's like people don't understand what's happening with the coronavirus. It's like it's a hoax, it's not real, we're looking for some other cleansing. This is not the right cleansing. The Third World War. Are you not understanding what martial law in America is? The reason why the white supremacist cops are out busting heads. Oh my God. No, I'm looking for something more specific, where I can dress up in Civil War gear and have my gun and shoot people. Oh dear God. Yeah, apparently there's supposed to be an earthquake in the middle of the United States. Not familiar with that one. That's a new Mormon myth that has emerged. Things that are happening. Oh yeah, and the next eclipse marks X over the New Madrid fault line. What? No, it's in America. Oh dear God. Mormons are messed up. Alrighty, because they got the wrong Jesus. That's why I did the other video. Alrighty. Oh, man. Lost the other one. Well, I know who it is, so. Alright. And gotta enlarge it, otherwise it'll. Creamy babies. So cute. Alright. Now, this discussion, I need to make sure I have the picture for you guys. Who moved my... No, I do not. It's under a different title. Okay. So give me a second here and we'll get to Alma chapter 30 and very briefly here. This was the cover that I was given. One with a little award sticker on it. #1 bestseller. Unbelievable. The white supremacist book. Okay. Oh, that's why I couldn't find it. It's all one word. Alrighty. Who moved my cheese? When I worked for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in their distribution center warehouse. I might as well keep it up so I can give you the author's name. I had worked there for about 5 years when they finally chased me out. You don't get fired in the church unless you do something criminal. Or as they were clamping down, they were trying to go after Mormons who didn't have temple recommends. And they assumed that I didn't have a temple recommend and they were going to catch me. I was working as the church curriculum missionary on the footnotes. I had a temple recommend, which was required to do that mission. But anyway, they still tried to get rid of me. When I got after I got transferred back from the Beehive warehouse, which I got transferred to before, I came back, was working in the returns department, and the church was trying to figure out how to control their employees who were getting very upset about all the changes the church was making without consulting their employees. They were just telling their employees to do this and to do that, and quit complaining, quit arguing, and just obey. And so they brought out Who Moved My Cheese. They had a lecture discussing all about it, which I refused to go to because they had all given us our own copies of the book. It's a short read. It's got drawings in there, like a comic book. And so, having read over it, I had recognized that it followed the doctrinal principles in Anton LaVey's Satanic Bible. Yes, I had to have access to his Bible in order for another school paper that I had to do, because that's what you do, is you get opposing views in order to dismiss the opposing views. And so I knew about Anton LaVey's doctrine of Lucifer. So when this was presented, and I read over it, I was horrified, because what the church was presenting with us, and I confirmed it, that the church leaders approved this book for all employees of the church. And it's by Spencer Johnson, MD, with a foreword by Kenneth Blanchard, PhD. And you might think, oh, medical doctor, oh, okay. But, hold on just a second. So, what this MD, who is to do no harm by their Hippocratic oath, was doing was presenting a psychological approach to the medical profession. Psychology is a pseudoscience. It does not use the same standard measurements that medical doctors use. And as a result, psychiatrists, psychologists, therapists, they don't cure because they don't look for the cause. They just go around labeling people. Now, I've done those videos discussing that in greater detail, as a Mormon is the one responsible for categorizing it into dichotomy and non-dichotomy categorizations. But here you have a different approach where human beings are compared to mice. That's not the only thing that pissed me off with what the church was trying to do to us. In this, they go over the lab rat testing to show the results of lab rat testing and applying it to human behavior and how to control human behavior, thus your employees. Because it's not only talking to employees to conform and comply to your bosses, but it's also bosses to get their employees to conform and comply to them. Now, remember, I've been talking about how our economy is a slave owner economy. We have slave owners who are the plantation owners of businesses and corporations, and then you have the slaves who are the employees. The employees do all the work and give all the money to the owners of the corporation, the business. Thus, it's a slave economy. And so what this was trying to do was not only show that human beings are rodents, not just animals, but rodents. This is a white supremacist philosophy, a satanic philosophy, and comes from also the Communist Manifesto with Karl Marx, who discussed how you have two kinds of people that are born in this world. You have those who are born to lead, and you have those who are born to follow. Again, the master and slave philosophy. And this book talks about how it's okay for corporations, businesses, to treat their employees as rodents, to withhold food, as the mice were put through the torture chamber of the maze, and then the end result, no cheese. They are conditioned to receive a paycheck on a regular basis, then all of a sudden, hey, no money, sorry. Thanks for giving us money though, we really appreciate your service. This is the kind of teachings that this book is promoting. This is full-on evil abuse. And so I vehemently opposed this book, and my supervisor, getting upset with me for not conforming and complying, said, I think it's best that you not catch that? I'm not going to your little lecture thing on satanic doctrine. So, yeah, I did not go to that meeting. So now let's go to the book of Alma, chapter 30. It's talking about an antichrist named Korihor. Now, Korihor was one of the Nehors of the Gadianton robbers, and promoting that whole secret combination antichrist movement that destroyed the Nephites. And let's see. He was saying, you cannot know that there will be a Christ. Now remember, this is presented as a historical book to Mormons, as Mormons believe it's a historical book. Those of us who have actually done our research and have found that it's not a historical book, it's plagiarized. And I've found out that the plagiarism is specific to the specific coding that is in there. And so this is after the Smiths. That the Smiths are talking about a future Christ who will come, not the previous one from the Gospels the Christians believe in. Thus the video with the thumbs up and down allowed for you, where I go into great detail from Mormon scripture only that Joseph Smith and such, his original organization, was not about Jesus Christ from the gospel Christians. It's more of the Jewish Christ, of whom they are still waiting for. And so this is code right here about a future Antichrist and the doctrines of a future Antichrist, that there will be no Jewish Messiah coming. And he's not really a Jew, he's a Gentile. And Jews even understand this. But because it's the doctrine of Judaism, he's called the Jewish Messiah. And so this Korihor says that because you believe in a Christ who is to come, you are crazy. But he uses the term frenzied mind. That's the same thing as mad, that Abinadi is accused of being. You're crazy. You've got a Messiah complex, thinking that some Christ is coming. Messiah complex is technically for the person who thinks he's the Messiah. But again, that's psychiatry at work here. So now you see the connection to psychiatry here in the Book of Mormon. And this derangement of your minds comes because of the traditions of your fathers, which led you away into a belief of things which are not so. And now his logic is fallacious here, because it has not happened yet, and because it has not happened yet, the belief that it will happen, he's therefore claiming it will not happen because it has not happened. That's a fallacy. Affirming the conclusion. He said that every man fared in this life according to the management of the creature. There's the comparison to animals. We humans are merely animals, and so we need to start behaving as animals. All of our sensations that we have, we need to indulge in our carnal senses without fear of consequences. And so, yeah, you like eating chocolate cake? Eat chocolate cake. And see, The Simpsons, Homer Simpson had that episode where he went to hell and a demon was force-feeding him a whole gazillion donuts. And Homer just kept eating and eating and eating and eating and eating. And it was supposed to be torture for him, but Homer loves donuts, and so despite how big he was getting, he just kept eating. And it became torture for the demon instead. And so that's the kind of concept that they have. They're deniers of consequences. We already see this. He's a denier of science using psychology in place of science, saying, hey, I'm affirming the conclusion, and therefore I'm right. You have not had the conclusion yet, therefore it's not going to happen. Similar to the concept of farming. I don't see fruit from this seed, therefore there will be no fruit. And you are crazy to believe that there will be fruit from the planting of this seed. That's how ludicrous this guy is. But this is what is going on right now with white supremacism, as they are putting psychiatry ahead of science. They are calling human beings animals. And continuing on, therefore every man prospered according to his genius. So only the enlightened, Illuminati, remember those guys? Yes, they're here, they're now. This is their plan of attack. And they think that they're a stable genius. Oh, I wonder who has also said that. But yes, this comes from white supremacist thinking, that they are the smart ones. They are the leaders, and therefore they are the ones to survive. And when you withhold education, from your servants, from your slaves, from your employees, by keeping them down and not progressing through the ranks, yeah, you perpetuate this educational division. And not only that, but a financial division is also created, as well as a health division. And so all those factors come into play when they then come out with the claim, and that every man conquered according to his strength. Survival of the fittest. Now this came from science in our day, that we evolved from monkeys, chimpanzees specifically, that it's supposedly in our DNA, and that we just need to find that missing link to connect us together. Again, they're not utilizing, there is no missing link, therefore it's not a legitimate theory. But in science, you can't just make up a theory that can never be tested or proven. You have to have a test to work with. And so there are a number of scientific theories that are supposed to be dropped, like utilitarianism for the moral theories. It needs to be dropped. It's already been proven wrong. And so the survival of the fittest has to do with this whole concept that we are just animals, that we are supposed to utilize our natural senses to do whatever we want without the consequences. And when you think that way, people are going to be aggressive towards you, or counter-aggressive, shall we say. Because, for example, if you like another man's wife, you go and rape her, and so the man's upset, the woman's upset, especially if she dies with your abusive behavior to satisfy your urges, and so then he wants you dead, and so he tries to kill you for redress of grievances. He may even be the better man and take you to court instead for your crimes. But if there is no violence committed against the woman, and she's willing to do that, then you've got a whole nother problem involved of the woman not really loving her husband. But beside that, if you will have people wanting revenge, wanting compensation for what damage has been done to them. It's the same with if you steal from somebody. They're going to want their stuff back. They're not just going to say, oh, okay, you want this? Oh, all right, so I'm off on the streets now? Okay, so I have no food? Okay, so I'm going to die? Okay. No, nobody's going to do that. They're going to fight for survival. For people to just roll over and die, that involves a psychological deception in human thinking. But as Christian Bale's Batman, the reboot series trilogy, he recognized when he gave up the Wayne wealth to go to the streets, he realized right away he was hungry. and realized that the only way to get food in his condition was not to go out and get a job, because it wasn't available to those who were living on the streets. That was not an option. And so you were forced to steal for food, for survival. It becomes survival of the fittest because of what the leaders of the community had done. And so Bruce Wayne was recognizing what Gotham had become. And so this concept of, hey, do whatever you want, no consequences, will result in a survival of the fittest. That's what we are going through right now with this coronavirus. They let it expand and get worse. Then they decide, all right, fine, we'll send everybody home except for essential workers. And here in Utah, everybody wants to claim they're essential. I've got this new product I'm trying to sell, and so I'm an essential worker. But yeah, the problem didn't go away. And so they, even though it was level here in Utah, for example, Governor Herbert decided, hey, on the anniversary of the Illuminati, we're going to open up again. And so some areas were lowered down to yellow so that he can justify opening up some businesses, and things got worse in those areas. Nonetheless, Herbert said, hey, we're going to go all the way now, since it's been working. Oh my God, it's not working unless you're talking about slaughtering your followers, the people who voted for you. And so yeah, he opened up the rest of the rest of Utah, putting us down to yellow. And so everybody thinks, oh, we're green. Okay, we'll just go out unprotected. And then you get people saying, you know what, I don't want to go back to isolation anymore. You are taking away my constitutional rights to agency. And oh dear God. But this whole system is designed for the consequences of survival of the fittest. Because the millions that are unemployed, they're not getting their jobs back. How are they going to live? There is no money to be further given to them. This is the last month. This is it. This is when they start losing their money. They're not giving more money to us. And so what are they going to do? Are they just going to roll over and die? Or are they going to fight for survival? They want them to fight for survival so that they can justify sending in the cops and beating them down. These are the consequences of white supremacist Luciferian doctrine. And they are purposely doing what they're doing to us. And so every Mormon who thinks that Bednar is right, that, oh, coronavirus is taking away our agency to gather at church, dismissing Alma chapter 32 about the poor Zoramites who said, hey, our poverty is keeping us from worshiping in a gathered location at a church called a synagogue with a ramyumptum where we're able to give rote testimonies about how we are the elite. Oh God, we thank thee that we are better than our brethren. The Book of Mormon clearly warns us of white supremacism. They clearly warn us of the doctrine of Lucifer, which is white supremacist. They warn us that white supremacism is antichrist. And Joseph Smith is trying to warn that it's the Jewish version of the Christ, not the Christian version, as I've already gone over. And so white supremacists, who do they also don't want to replace them? Jews. And white supremacists are refusing to accept the coming of the Christ of whom the Jews believe in. And instead they're promoting a false Christ, the Christian Christ, for a second coming. Since he failed the first time, he gets a second chance. That's the Christian Christ. And that's not Joseph Smith's Christ. That's not supposed to be the Mormon Christ. And I know that Christians are not happy with that. But Christians also need to realize that you also have been attacked by your religions to become white supremacists, to believe in these doctrines of Lucifer. It's just that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints has the sign of Lucifer on the keystone of their Salt Lake Temple, and as the foundation stone of the keystone of the Seagull Gate. That's the only difference. So, if you're going to hate me, at least own up that your God is Lucifer. Quit trying to gaslight me into thinking that you worship Jesus Christ as you attack me for talking about the true Christ.